Across the Jedi Order's history, there have been thousands of Jedi from a variety of the weirdest and most strange species in the galaxy. They range from those who are very human-like, such as the Balasaurs, all the way to the ones like Ithorians. But in all of this variety, there are only 2 or 3 known Wookiee Jedi in canon. So why were Wookiee Jedi so rare? Well, we're going to find out. Also remember to subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all of the new Star Wars canon content from the comics, books, games, and TV shows. In canon, we currently know of 2 or maybe 3 Wookiee Jedi if you want to stretch it. First up, we have Ganji. Ganji was a youngling during the time of the Clone Wars, and because younglings were put into clans until a master took them on, he was placed into a clan of 6 others. Ganji and his clan were given the task of travelling to the planet Ilum under the Watch of Ahsoka Tano, where they would collect their Kyber Crystals for their first lightsabers. After facing many challenges and facing truths about themselves, the entire group eventually managed to harvest their crystals. Ganji's Kyber Crystal turned green when he harvested it, indicating that he was more in tune with the cosmic force rather than the living force. The really interesting part about his journey is that Yoda commended him for his patience, which is a rare trait among the Wookiees and often leads them to the dark side. This will be important later on in the video. He is also commended by the lightsaber architect droid, who notes that Jedi of his kind are very, very rare, especially to get to this stage of lightsaber construction. After that, we have Boriyaga Agaberry. Boriyaga served as a Jedi Padawan during the time of the High Republic and was present at the Great Hyperspace Disaster which hit the Hetzel system around 200 years before the prequels. He generally wasn't a fan of social gatherings with the other Jedi because of his language barrier, and this same problem actually impaired his ability to help at the Great Hyperspace Disaster. He felt the terror of those who survived the disaster so strongly that he radiated that terror to the other Jedi who were there. Because he was unable to communicate with them, they believed it was his own emotional trauma pulling him to the dark side. And this language barrier is probably one of the reasons adding to the lack of Jedi Wookiees in the Order. Finally, we have the Master of Plo Koon, Tyvoka. Tyvoka has a pretty awesome story in Star Wars Legends, but in canon we know absolutely nothing about him. He was the Master of Plo Koon, and he was a Wookiee. That's it. And that leads us back to the main question. Why are there so few of them? Well, there are probably an assortment of reasons. The real reason is because George Lucas told authors not to create many Wookiee Jedi unless their stories really interested him, but there are actually reasons in canon. The first and most interesting possible reason is that Kashyyyk itself was not conducive to having Force users be born on it. We know from numerous examples in canon that planets themselves are connected to the Force and have a great impact on their inhabitants. For example, Dathomir is strongly connected to the dark side, and as a result, the species which are native there are too. The Zabraks are naturally more attuned to the dark side of the Force as a result of coming from Dathomir. This same influence can be seen in Zabrak traditions, with many clans of witches, including the Night Sisters, residing there and utilizing the dark side of the Force. They know it as only dark magics, but in reality it is just a different expression of the Force, specifically the dark side. This also ties into the mystical dark areas of Kashyyyk known as the Shadowlands. In canon, we don't know much about them yet, but it could be home to a Force Vergence where all of the planet's Force energy is concentrated. These Vergences were seen all over the galaxy, including below the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, Dagobah, and even on Deveron. With all of the planet's Force energy culminating in this one spot, it could explain why it hasn't spread out amongst the inhabitants. With the Shadowlands being created by the shadows of the Wookiee origin tree, this would also point to them having natural dark side tendencies like the Zabraks if Force sensitives were to pop up on the planet pretty frequently. This makes a light side Wookiee Jedi an even rarer possibility. Another possible reason for the extremely rare occurrences of Wookiee Jedi is that not many Jedi actually visited Kashyyyk in the first place to inspect young Wookiees. In order for a Wookiee to join the Jedi, they had to be found at a very young age and taken to the temple. Given Kashyyyk's harsh, dense jungles and vast swamplands, it was not an easy place to get to for the Jedi emissaries. It was practically impossible for any species but the Wookiees themselves. Not to mention, with what we know about Wookiee personalities, there is no chance at all that a Wookiee mother would willingly bring their child to the Jedi Order to be taken away. So there could actually be a small number of Force-sensitive Wookiees living deep within the jungles of Kashyyyk that simply haven't and never will be found by the outside world. But that's pretty fun to think about. But those are the reasons why Wookiee Jedi are so rare in the galaxy. Really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit that like button down below. Cheers guys, hope to see you in the next one.